Pills a-popping tonight. Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto canceled his White House meeting after President Trump slammed the Mexican drug cartels.
Unless Mexico is going to treat the United States fairly, with respect, such a meeting would be fruitless, and I want to go a different route.
Also, we've learned the Trump administration may impose fees and taxes on imports from Mexico as high as 20% to pay for the border wall. We'll have the latest. And President Trump's chief White House strategist blistering the national left-wing media in a rare interview. Steve Bannon saying the media should be embarrassed and humiliated and keep its mouth shut and just listen for a while. Ambassador John Bolton, Steve Moore, conservative commentator David Horowitz among our guests tonight. Good evening, everybody. President Trump today clearly establishing the terms for future negotiations with Mexico concerning a southern border wall as well as trade. It led to Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto. Well, he pulled out of a meeting with Mr. Trump scheduled for next Tuesday. President Trump said the summit would have been fruitless anyway unless Mexico demonstrated it would treat the United States fairly and with respect. Mr. Trump detailed the one-sided deal with Mexico since NAFTA was created during his speech to Republicans gathered for their annual retreat in Philadelphia.
I've said many times that the American people will not pay for the wall, and I've made that clear to the government of Mexico. NAFTA has been a terrible deal, a total disaster for the United States from its inception, costing us as much as $60 billion a year with Mexico alone in trade deficits. You say, who negotiates these deals? Not to mention millions of jobs and thousands of factories and plants closing down all over our country.
And White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer told reporters that a 20% import tax might be one way in which the administration would pay for that border wall.
Our country's policy is to tax exports and let imports flow freely in, which is ridiculous. But by doing it that way, we can do $10 billion a year and easily pay for the wall just through that mechanism alone. If you think about what a border tax on imports from countries like Mexico that we have a huge trade deficit does, that's really going to provide the funding.
And shortly after that, Spicer said the 20% import tax was just one of a number of options that might be used to pay for the construction of the wall. Also today, UK Prime Minister Theresa May delivered her speech to Republicans in Philadelphia, and there she discussed forging a strong relationship with President Trump and outlined her vision ahead of the British vote to leave the European Union in Parliament.
We have the opportunity, indeed the responsibility, to renew the special relationship for this new age. We have the opportunity to lead together again, because the world is passing through a period of change. And in response to that change, we can either be passive bystanders, or we can take the opportunity once more to lead, and to lead together.
Or oppose Brexit and then become prime minister and be able to give highfalutin speeches in Philadelphia. May will be the first foreign leader to meet with President Trump tomorrow at the White House. Joining me now to talk about the way President Trump has changed the debate concerning U.S. relations with Mexico, the opportunities ahead in a post-Brexit United Kingdom, former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, American Enterprise Institute Senior Fellow, John Bolton. Great to have you here. I have to say, I got a kick out of the Prime Minister taking it upon herself to talk about change. She sounded like she's embracing it 7 months after the Brexit vote.
Better late than never.
Absolutely.
And she's enthusiastic now.
Enrique Peña Nieto. My. The fellow, he just doesn't quite get it, does he?
It's an amazing thing that he himself pulled the plug on the meeting with Trump. I mean, obviously, he felt that the announcements had put him in a bad position. I think he misread that. I think he would have done better in Mexico to stand up to the big Yankee president. But by pulling out now and saying no negotiation, I think he's cleared the field for Trump. It's a big tactical mistake on Peña Nieto's part.
Well, I think also Trump laid something of, if I may say, a bear trap for him, which he walked straight into. This is a president, Peña Nieto in Mexico. He has only a 12% approval rating. The country has a stagnant at best economy, and cartels are running much of the country. It's a mess by any judgment, and this is it seems clear to me at least, that President Trump is creating a broad strategy here to win on this issue, whether it be in the corruption of the government, the violence of the society that is Mexico's, and the negligence on the part of those companies in this country who have is just simply into all of that thrown their employees, their investment dollars into plants down there.
Yeah, I think President Trump is pursuing a different kind of negotiating strategy with Mexico, and I think more broadly internationally than prior presidents have done. Other presidents may have a goal, but when they go into negotiation, it's very pared down. It's just like a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of the other thing, and then they don't get even a little bit of this and that. What Trump has said is, I want the big picture. He'll compromise from that. That's the art of the deal.
He's negotiating.
But he'll still get what he wants. But by framing the issue himself, he puts the other side on the defensive. That's what the tactic is. With Mexico, it just worked.
Yeah, and I think to your point, I think you're exactly right. This is a president, as they say, it's early days, has already established a penchant for action. People, whether their countries negotiating trade or whether they are potential foes geopolitically, militarily, they know that this president is very serious and that there are consequences that flow from his words.
Yeah. How many times during the campaign did he say there will be a wall and Mexico will pay for it? And now he said, I'm president, and I remember what I said during the campaign, and I'm putting it on the table. That alone distinguishes him from about 99% of the run-of-the-mill politicians who, when they get to Washington, decide to become part of the system. That will have a profound domestic impact as well.
I think also that it's reasonable to say that the business leadership in this country, in the form of the Chamber of Commerce, the Business Roundtable, this is not a capricious assault on those institutions. I assure you, I've been battling them for years on these issues. They simply did not take seriously the responsibilities of human rights in Mexico and the impact of what they're doing in the course they followed.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the damage to Mexican civil society that the drug cartels have done, it really does take
also
you back.
NAFTA and its dislocation of families and entire villages in some places.
But this is something that Obama never recognized as a problem. Now, so I think the Mexico thing Trump has definitely defined. I think on the British side, I really think this is one of the biggest opportunities that the Trump presidency has. It's critical for Britain. It could be critical for the United States. We're going to have to work out a new trade relationship with Britain, and it's like writing on a blank slate. Donald Trump with Britain can write the kind of trade relationship he wants and demonstrate it works. Stakes are very high for Theresa May, but if she succeeds with Trump, it will increase Britain's leverage against the EU in their exit negotiations.
Yeah, I think it's really something of a quandary now for the British with this ridiculous, an absurd establishment, Supreme Court as they style it, to have said that a public referendum, that is all of the voters of the UK, their votes don't count unless somehow it's rubber stamped by Parliament, is one of the most mindless pieces of law that I've ever seen.
Yeah, look, I think that the decision was clearly wrong, but the encouraging thing is it was an 8-3 vote, a very strong dissent that can come back to be helpful. And I think the parliamentary strategists of the conservative government now looking at this think they can get through with a very short bill that basically says we're going to negotiate withdrawal. They're working now on pumping it through the House of Commons. So I think this is maybe not even a bump in the road. At least I hope not.
Nigel Farage was with us, the leader of the Brexit effort, former head of the UK Independence Party. He said last night that if the people of Europe and the people of the UK think that they have seen some unrest, for the Parliament to deny the referendum and the will of the British people there will be a revolution.
I think so. And, you know, when the Labor Party and the Liberal Democrats say they're going to try and stop this bill, I say, knock yourself out, go to it. The Labor Party is about to disappear. This would be the end of it.
If anybody has any ambiguity whatsoever about if there's any ambiguity, misunderstanding about how bad an idea Brexit is, 2 years to get the heck out of the thing. And the British people are famously patient and constrained. They're putting up with it. I'd say get the heck out.
But see, now the United States can give Britain the exit it really needs, and the European Union is going to say, hey, we'd like that kind of deal with the United States, too. This is a huge opportunity.
Yeah, and to circle back to the original point, Donald Trump, President Trump has made it clear to all he's interested in bilateral trade, nation to nation, none of these comprehensive multinational platforms that are impossible to unwind or to, in fact, to implement efficiently or effectively. John Bolton, always great to see you.
Glad to be with you.
Thanks for being here. We're coming right back. A lot more straight ahead. Stay with us. President Trump delivering on campaign promises, and he's just getting started.
I'm going to keep a lot of them, and I've kept a lot of them already. Everyone's talking about it, and we're going to do things that I said we were going to do.
Day after day, Mr. Trump is working hard to make America great again. Our commander-in-chief also promising to crack down on sanctuary cities, but some mayors on the left vowing to defy President Trump. We'll take that up with one of the country's leading Republicans, Randy Evans, who joins me next. We'll be right back. Stay with us.